Okay, Marco.
Hello.
Marco.
How are you, Bryce?
Hey, I'm Rob Redbar. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Nice to see you too. By the way, my name is Rowan and I represent Watchman ID from Indonesia. First of all, I want to say thank you for having me, and I'm so glad to see you in person today.
Well, Rowan, nice to meet you. I'm sorry I got your name wrong earlier. It's good to meet you.
I had the opportunity to watch this movie first. It was scary, and maybe I won't be swimming anytime soon, especially at night. And I must say, I didn't expect the ending.
Okay,
Good job.
good. Oh yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much. Well, I'm glad that you liked it, and I hope that people are also surprised by the ending and that they never want to swim again. That would be the movie is
Yeah.
doing its job if it ruins the swimming pool.
I have some phobia being underwater and watching this movie, and it was like I'm like holding my breath when I watch the pool scene.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I guess whether you're in a swimming pool or you're in the ocean or you're in a river
yeah,
or wherever
yeah,
else, I think that same fear of the water translates, right? You can imagine being in the ocean at night and hearing the polo over your shoulder, and that it still works whether you're in a pool or not, especially in those big underwater sequences where we're kind of
yeah,
going further and deeper and beyond into this other experience. Like I really
yeah,
wanted those to feel like, like the abyss. Like you think you're in this one place, you think you know how big it is, you think you know what you're getting into. And then for the audience, just like, holy shit, where am I? Oh my, like just that feeling of like not
right,
knowing
right.
how deep the water is, and where it goes and what it's hiding. So I'm glad that yeah, Carrie Condon had to hold her breath for a very long time, and had to
Mm.
do breath training to get ready for those sequences. So
Oh,
I'm glad that you were holding your breath along with her. That's good.
Marco.
There's something bad in the water, and it's after all of us.
Marco.
as we know, Night Swim is a long version of the short film which was released in 2014. And when you made that short film, did you have the thought, okay, this should be made into a longer version? And what made that short film finally turn into a feature length film version?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, the short just began with a very simple idea. We didn't have the whole idea for the feature yet. We just kind of said, can we make the swimming pool feel the way it did to us when we were kids?
Mm.
When your imagination is running wild and the lights start flickering and the lights go off, and suddenly in your mind, you're thinking, I know this pool is only supposed to be 10 feet deep, but in my mind, I feel like it could be 100 feet deep. And I remember feeling like that when I was a kid. And I remember seeing Jaws and going in the pool and being like, that's the ocean. This is a pool. I know I'm safe. I know I'm safe. I know I'm safe. Am I safe? You started to kind of wonder. And I remember being so convinced that Jaws was beneath me, was going to swim up and attack me and kill me. And it was kind of like, yeah, can you capture that feeling as an adult? And can you capture that feeling in the swimming pool? So we made the short film, we put it online, and then hundreds of thousands of people were like, I'm afraid of the same thing. That's scary to me too. I remember feeling like that when I was a kid. That freaked me out. I remember that reaching into the drain. I remember, the swimming in alone by yourself at night, how scary that was. So I think that we kind of realized, like, all right, we tapped into something. Other people feel scared too. And then the question became like, okay, then how do you make a real story of that? Not just repeating the same thing again and again and again and stretching it out for 90 minutes. How do you make like a real story? So I think then it was like asking the question, who are these characters? What do they want? What
Yeah.
can the pool give them? How does the pool kind of give them their dream and grant their wishes in a way? For community, for having friends, for doing water therapy. And then, what's the mythology of the pool and what's its history? How far back does it go? What are the rules? What can it do? And I think it was just kind of having to answer some of those big questions. And then I think for me, it was being excited by I was like, ooh, that's good. That feels like a movie. These characters, what they're going through, their journey, that feels like a movie. And I think really was just making sure you had really good answers to those questions before deciding to try and do it as a feature, because it could have just been kind of the dumb, bad version, but we wanted to make sure there was a real human story that was being told. And that was actually scary.
Yeah. And if you were asked to choose to be in the water, which one scare you the most, Bryce? Being in the pool or being in the ocean?
I think you'd think the ocean would be scarier, and maybe the ocean is scarier. But the thing I like about the pool is that you're not supposed to be scared there. In the pool, you're relaxing, so you're not. At least in the ocean, you're kind of like you're on guard, you're cautious. In the pool, and then you see this in the movie, the characters are not on guard. They're having a good time. They think they're safe, and it's when you think you're safe that the most danger can happen, right? So I think that's in a way that's what makes the pool scarier, is that we don't know to be scared of the pool. So we're just kind of walking into it looking for fun, and we get something frightening.
One of the highlights of the trailer is Marco Polo sequence. But when the game was played in the pool, it was very scary. Where did the idea come from? I mean, swimming is supposed to be exciting and fun, right? How did that turn out to be more terrifying?
Yeah, I was just thinking about, all the things that we did as kids in the pool. So all those like memories that people would have growing up, at least in America, that game Marco Polo, like every single kid that ever played in a pool would have played that game. Everyone remembers Marco Polo, but it's even if you didn't grow up playing it, it's so simple. I say Marco, a voice repeats Polo, Marco, Polo, and then it guides you out there. So it's easy to understand, even if you didn't grow up playing it. Like you can still get the game. But it was just kind of like, man, like what's all the things that we remember from the swimming pool? Like reaching into the drain flap and having to pull out our lost toy, and the hair starts pulling out, and maybe there's a dead frog in there, a dead animal in there. It was all the things that, just tapping into that memory. And I remember just feeling like when I thought of the idea for Marco Polo, I pitched it to James Wan, and I was like going around the room with my eyes closed, like Marco. And I was acting out the whole thing, and I was like, if I can get a jump scare in a pitch, then I know that I've won. And I remember that being like a big moment of feeling like, okay, this is a movie when I had that scene. So yeah, just taking a game that we all remembered and then twisting that into something terrifying.
About collaborating with James Wan and Bloom, who have made many iconic horror movies, can you tell us about your experience collaborating with them?
It was an amazing experience. James Wan, obviously an amazing director, did Saw, did The Conjuring, did Insidious, Fast and Furious, Aquaman, you name it. So he knows water really, really well. He knows horror really, really well. So for me, it was just, trying to learn from him. And, I would go to his house, I would bring my storyboards, I'd pitch him, like, here's the way I see the Marco Polo going, and kind of act it out and walk the storyboards. And he would get so excited. He'd be like, oh, wait. What if we did this? We could do the camera here. We could da-da-da. And he'd always have these amazing ideas. I won't spoil, I probably won't spoil like what it is, but there's a couple ideas that were like, that's specifically like a James Wan idea that ended up in the movie. And they're so good. So he was just director to director, really, really involved and collaborative in the process. And then Jason Blum he is so good at getting something done that you think is impossible. Like if you don't have enough days, or you can't get a location, or you're trying to get the rights to the movie, like he is an amazing producer that just knows how to get things done that seem impossible. So I'm super lucky to work with both of them.
And last, is there any possibility of doing a sequel or a prequel? Because the lore of the pool or the water itself is very interesting.
Yeah, I would love to. I have the story I know I'd like to tell, and I won't tell you whether it's in the future or the past, but I will say that there's an Easter egg in the movie that one of the characters is talking about the kind of history of the pool. And there's something that they reference where I'm like, ooh, I would love to set Night Swims or the sequel in this pocket of time or this location, which would basically use the swimming pool, but it would build out bigger than just the pool.
Yeah. What do you want to say to the audiences in Indonesia? Why should they watch Night Swim?
I think you should go and watch Night Swim in a theater with other people, because it's too scary to watch alone. Because you're gonna see something in the water that you've never seen before. It seems like a small movie, but I can just tell you, and you've seen it, the movie gets way bigger. And so it's definitely, you're gonna miss the impact of that if you're watching it on a small screen or on a laptop or a home screen. It's really meant to be watched in a theater with people, so you can hold your breath along with all those people and hold their hand tightly and go on a wild ride.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all. Thank you for having me today and for this opportunity. It's meant a lot to me, Bryce.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I hope for this movie success and many people will watch it, and I will go to the cinema to watch Night Swim again. Of course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. That's great.
When we moved into the house,
Hello?
my kids started seeing things.
Izzy, where are you?